This is Unbound Sage, and today I'd like to talk about the new kit reveals in the Fateless thing. I just watched through it, and some really cool stuff here. So I figured I'd give my first reactions, and I'll probably give a tier list, an update, like a tier list with all the heroes that we know about. Probably later in the week, probably tomorrow or the next day. But I kind of want to just go through and give people how to dissect these kits and stuff. So far, I'm pretty happy with it. I saw a few things we'll talk about, but all in all, I'm pretty happy. But let's go ahead and get started with an Anu. So we're doing damage, replacing Vanish on the ally with the current. Yeah, I like that. There's obviously people that like Vanish a lot as well. I think of Mulan and I think of others. So cool, Vanish enabler. We have defense up 2 on an ally for 2 turns, and protect 2 on all allies. Cool, right? You can make them all take less damage. Then when you're taking the damage from the protect, you'll take less damage incoming. So this ultimate, and one of the pet peeves I have about this video is we don't have divinity costs or divinity generators in the video. So it's really hard to decide what if this is good or not. Like realistically, I can't tell you if this is a good ultimate or not because I do not know the divinity cost. If this divinity cost is 1,000, then yeah, this ult's awesome. If this divinity cost is like, like 1,700 with with whatever, like with no generation, I can't tell you, right? What I can say though is the first thing that comes to mind is when we see Phoenix on all eyes for 2 turns, I think I'm a killable clan boss. I think that there may be worlds where you can get Phoenix on your allies before every attack. Or maybe there's like a massive attack or something, because we don't know the clan boss kit, but who knows, man? Maybe this is like a new unkillable where you just keep Phoenixing people up and whatnot. So that is something to consider. I do like kind of the pile on with the this is another team attack passive. Or I'm glad that they add team attacks to the ultimates, and then we have also a heal as well. And then we have, this is massive, by the way, 30% damage reduction to all teammates if you keep your divinity full, which, yeah, I mean, there is a kind of weird tension between the ultimate and the passive. I mean, there's always going to be when you have your passive based on your divinity. Because I do value this Phoenix, and this Phoenix and the DR is kind of doing the same thing. But I see this guy as a big arena champion, right? With this start with the ultimate, get the ultimate pretty soon, and then like blender comp someone. It really depends on the cost of the ultimate, I would say. But yeah, I think Anu I'm pretty happy with. Especially this DR with defense up, those and protect, like. If you could start the battle, like an arena battle, like a PvP with like half your divinity, and then start with this core, I don't think your team can die. Like realistically. So that's something to consider. But yeah, pretty cool. Let's go to the next one. So we have Apollo. So Apollo, first it's placing mend on everyone. That's very good, right? The second hit is putting acid on the target for 2 turns. And then if Artemis is on the team, she'll join the attack. That's pretty good, honestly. Because, yeah, I mean, like Artemis is a big slayer. We saw her doing pretty big damage numbers. So having her join in, just do extra damage. Especially, this will give her extra turns. So these teams seem pretty strong together. And especially with her high multipliers, if you give her the attack up, I'm surprised it doesn't give the attack up first, then attack. Like this isn't so much attack where this is breaking this. This is a legendary hero, and you're attacking one champion. It's okay if you put the attack up first. However, equalize the divinity of the ally with the lowest divinity to this hero's divinity is big. It really depends on, is that flat? Is that percentage? Is that what? Right? And also we don't know the cost of his ultimate. Because if his ultimate sits at 2,000, right? And I could just sit it here, and then every 3 turns I can force an ultimate, and it's just going to bring them to 2,000, which is going to be max, right? Well, There you go. Right. And then Artemis will also do her divinity as well. So that's pretty good. Attack all enemies, reduce the cooldown of each hero's core by 1 turn. Very good. Each enemy, each ally under men increase their divinity by, and each enemy under acid decrease their divinity. Yeah, this is really strong as well. I mean, it doesn't do that big of a hit, but reducing the core is really big. And then this is definitely something I'd be looking into for clan boss teams again. All in all, whenever an ally uses a core, increase their core damage by 10%. And this is another one that was like, this is a very big clan boss ability, right? For these longer clan boss fights. Even like outside of clan boss, I don't imagine there'll be fights that'll go like 6 turns to use, or 3 turns to use your core twice. And it's only like a very situational 10% damage outside of that. But he is resetting cores a lot. In general, acid's good. Decreasing divinity is good. Attack up on all allies is good. This is a tricky guy. This is a guy who requires some thought, but I think there's a lot of juice here. It really depends if this is a percentage or if this is a flat. And then if it's flat, how high is this, right? How high is the cost of the ultimate? I'm pretty happy with Apollo, I think. There's some trickiness to Apollo, and I think I like that. Yeah, I mean, these keep people alive with men's as well. Cool. All right, let's go to the next one. Ares. Now, Ares is one. Spoilers. I don't get it. I don't get it, because I see crit damage in arena. So you're telling me you want him to be an arena character, but how? Why? Like it's gonna take you 10 turns to decrease someone's defense, and then strong hits decrease initiative. Decreasing someone's initiative over the course of 10 turns isn't going to win an arena fight. Like, if you think arena fights are going to stall for 10 turns plus, I mean, that's not without using the core as well. This is nothing. And the first to hear 5 is a drop in the bucket. It's probably not going to change divinity timings at all. 50 initiative will, but 5 or like 10 kind of won't. So, but this is a great clan boss ability, right? I want to bring him in with like Apollo, and bring him in with like what is it called? Like the other 2 people, and like, this guy's my damage dealer for clan boss. But then why is my crit damage only in arena, right? When this kind of like his first one screams clan boss to me. Then we see the second one, and then we see that we're attacking through ignoring shield and barrier on the hit. And then if the attack's a strong hit, remove the shield and barrier. Now, I don't think there is a way in arena to guarantee a strong hit, because this guy is strength. And, we do have like wisdom characters like Heimdall, but like, it's only removing Heimdall's shield. It's not removing everyone's, because I imagine if if the attack is a strong hit, remove all shields and barriers from each target. Wait, do you only need 1 strong hit to remove all barriers from all targets? See, if that's the case, right, that's a little different. It's weird, though. It's kind of weird. This is doing okay damage, too. I think I want this to do a little bit more damage, considering if you want this is doing nothing in PvP, right? This is not slapping people. You're just going to core, ignore shield and barrier. And then attack one enemy 2 times, and then ignore all your defensive debuffs. And if it's a strong hit, also ignore the target's defense. Yeah, I think the biggest problem is, though, is like, what happens when we see a bunch of strong hit increasings with like under vanish, you get some. We see this guy also has some as well. Whenever an enemy is under a debuff, whenever each time an enemy receives a debuff, increase this hero's hit chance by 5% for the next ability. That feels okay. So let's say I do my defense down combo, to I have Shinigami and I do defense down hex. So I bop, and then I have on the arena it'd be a 50% chance to strong hit. And then, but what if I'm attacking into cunning? Does that cancel out the weak hit, or do I have a 50% chance to strong hit, a 50 or a 30% chance to weak hit? Like, it really depends on how this interacts with weak hit chance as well. Also, if I miss the 50-50, let's say I'm attacking into Eternal. If I miss the 50-50, does it reset, or like do I pay for the chance, or do I pay for the strong hit? Because this is written, I even if I miss the strong hit, if I miss my 50-50, then I'm like, go kick rocks. Like, sorry. And if you buy into the strong hit for him, if you go with the strong hit weapon and go with like a strong hit imprint, the only real imprint's the Mulan one, because you're not gonna be at full divinity for Minotaur, and you're not gonna have full bleed stacks for what's the bleed stack one? There's a bleed stack hit chance or strong hit chance. And so those aren't going to be online. So it's like there's no imprints that help you hit your strong hit besides this guy's. And like, honestly, doing 30% more damage with the strong hit is good. I don't know. Strong hit's kind of weird. I think it's undersupported still with the current imprints that we've seen. His imprint does help, but it really helps that turn one hit. And I don't think this is killing people, right? I don't think this is killing people, even with a strong hit critical. So we'll see, right? But I'm pretty unimpressed with Ares as a arena champion. I am pretty impressed with him as a clan boss champion, though. So like a clan boss DPS, especially if the clan boss has shields and barriers, if that's a mechanic for the wisdom one, right? Like, I get the Ares being like a go-to wisdom clan boss killer for sure, especially with the ultimate. Depends how fast this charges as well, right? But this does hit quite hard, and you ignore more defense. So yeah, I see him as kind of a clan boss maybe, but then in clan boss he doesn't get as much strong hit, right? Because you're only debuffing one guy instead of 5 guys. So I'm a little confused with what they want from him, but I mean, you can't. Decreasing defense in clan bosses is incredibly good. So we'll see. I don't really recommend him. I don't think there's any of them that I recommend yet. I think Anu is the best one, but Apollo and Ares, I'm not sure if I would recommend right away until we can see kind of more of their numbers, especially Apollo, because Apollo has a chance to be completely busted or do nothing. We don't really know yet until we know kind of what the game is asking us to do. Okay, so we see Cizin's kit now, and we see the acid blaze and kind of coming together here. So Cizin, on the other hand, is looking really good. We have a big AoE smack with a chance to place acid. This is akin to like a Hercules passive, right? A Hercules A1, very in line with that, especially with the multiplier. Huge fan of the multiplier. I'm happy to see Slayers, especially Slayers like Cizin. Cizin has no type of external scaling. Like we see Ares has the defense down. Cizin doesn't have that. So I really like that, they recognize that in the kit, and then they give him a little bit more damage to make up for it. So yeah, then we see the core putting on blaze on each target. Acid blaze sounds good. And then we see attack enemies activates blaze and acid on each target, and then applies precision on this hero for 1 turn. I don't know what precision is. I guess there's no way to know. It sounds like an accuracy thing. Maybe you can't miss your next accuracy check or something. Like, who knows? But if we ignore that buff, this is a really good kit, right? You're doing huge damage. And enemies under acid reduce their healing by 50%. Okay. Yeah, I like this guy a lot, actually. I think Cizin's a super solid pick. Just you have solid numbers here. He's kind of prime for the attack up, right? With these great numbers. He like it seems like he's really a team player who's like, if you buff him, he'll do even more. You know, you put vulnerable on the champion, he's putting debuff on the champion. I don't know if he's being compensated enough for accuracy though. His damage, I don't know if he's being compensated enough for accuracy, but he does get blaze and acid. Maybe he is, right? The question here is this additive or multiplicative with curse? So if it's multiplicative, that means that they are healing 25% of their original healing. And if it's additive, they're not healing at all. And I really, really hope this is additive, because it would be cool to have a way like Cizin, if you bring in a cursed champion or even put the Hades imprint on him to give them curse too. Like, there's actually a world where Cizin and Hades imprint becomes the meta against these bosses that heal, which we do see in the Desecrated Daimyo fight, right? With him healing whenever he attacks under barrier, right? Or whenever he's attacked under barrier, he's healing under barrier, right? So this could be a way to bypass that mechanic. And it'd be cool to have a way in the game to have a 100% healing reduction. So I do hope this is additive. That'd make the game pretty fun, especially with his acid only be a 60% chance to hit. It's kind of unreliable with this with him alone. So yeah, just remember that the activation of the blaze and acid is very strong as well. Maybe this is the compensation for building accuracy. Yeah, I think I like Cizin. I like Cizin a lot, actually. I like how simple he is and how well he plays with other characters. Plays well with Raw, plays well with I don't know if we have another big, I don't know if there's a guy who really cares about acid besides Cizin. But yeah, I like Cizin. Thumbs up. I think him and Anu right now are both pretty solid picks. I don't think he's better than Guan Yu. I don't think he's better than Wukong. However, it depends what precision does, right? I mean, this could, who knows what this is, right? So whatever, right? I don't even want to hazard a guess. So it sounds accuracy based though, which is cool because you're building accuracy anyway. Who cares, right? Let's go to the next one. So we have Fujin here. Fujin here is going to be putting res down 2 on each target. That's interesting. So he's giving resistance, and he's also lowering their resistance. And if Raijin's on the team, he will join the attack. Okay, we know Raijin, he's later in the video, he's a slayer, so this seems pretty real. And then attack all enemies, and then place protect on all allies. Also place stalwart on all allies. And if Raijin's on the team, place war on him. I like Stalwart as a buff. I value Stalwart pretty heavily. Protect is quite nice as well. So yeah, this ability, especially with the passive reducing damage taken from AoE attacks, like this guy's really protecting your team against nasty debuffers in arena as well. I think the res down might help, is good in arena as well. Helps you land your debuffs. But against high resistance team, he may struggle to land the res down. So maybe I would like to see an awakening like 1, maybe, where this is irresistible, right? Considering how res down is not a premium debuff, and we don't have a big chance to put it on. So maybe that's it there. But yeah, if this is irresistible and like an awakening like 1 or 3, that's really good. I have to consider the awakenings as well, because these awakenings. Wait, does this include the awakenings? Maybe. How powerful are these? Do we think there's room for awakenings, or do you think the awakenings are already in the kit? I don't think this is an awakening. This is probably not an awakening either. We haven't seen these team things be an awakening. Who knows? Okay, this is good. And then transfer a debuff from each ally to this hero. Then transfer all debuffs to this hero to the target enemy. For each debuff transferred, increase the allies' barriers. For each debuff transferred, increase all allies' barrier 50%. Does this only give barrier if they had previously had a barrier? Because if so, this sucks. I mean, this ultimate kind of sucks anyway, because when you have an AoE, like think of clan boss. Let's say clan boss is going to go and give you all, like, I don't know, speed down. Or the daimyo fight gives you speed down, right? Well, when I transfer like when you read this, you're like, oh, I'm going to give like 5 debuffs to the daimyo. It's like, no, you're only giving 1. So it's a 1 debuff cleanse and then a 1 debuff give. So you're only transferring 1 debuff, most likely, maybe 2, and then you get a small barrier. If it gives a barrier, it's like, okay, like this is like you'd have to have a myriad of debuffs on you for this to give even a barrier that's comparable to like a Heimdall barrier. And it says increases. So maybe you don't even get the barrier unless you already have a barrier on you. I'm not sure what this terminology means, but all in all, don't expect to transfer a lot of debuffs here, right? Remember, an AoE attack gives you all the same debuffs. So you're only he's gonna take in all the debuffs. It's not gonna give him 3 instances or 5 instances of speed down. It's gonna give him 1 instance of speed down, which he'll give to the boss, right? Give to the daimyo. So you might be transferring 2 if the daimyo fight has speed down, initiative down. And I don't imagine many bosses, like even Fafnir only had 4 debuffs, right? So if you get lucky, or if you do that one, it's like, okay, I have a 400 or a 200 defense barrier. Remember, Heimdall gives a 400 defense shield. So while this stacks with shield and stuff too, I'm kind of unimpressed, especially with transfer 1 debuff. But this is really good. I like Raijin. I like Stalwart a lot. I think that Stalwart is a great thing in the game, especially, this is going to be your block. This is basically just like block disables. So I think I like Stalwart a lot, right? But we'll see. I think he's good. I like him as well. I find that in this game, defenders are often well designed, and I think I agree with this as well. So here's Raijin. This is the partner in crime, right? So we see attack 3 random enemies. If the target is under a debuff, place a barrier on this hero. Is this per hit? No, this is not per hit. So, I mean, this is a pretty inconsequential barrier. If Fujin's on the team, he will gain a barrier and also join the attack. We don't know the damage multiplier on this either. I imagine it'll be pretty good though, right? As a slayer, it's likely to be good. Attack all enemies 2 times. First one has a chance to play Hex 2. Second one has defense down 2. So this is just upgraded Shinigami, right? Because Shinigami does a very similar thing, but it's Hex 1, defense down 1. So we are pretty happy with this. And then so if the enemy's under a debuff, so maybe you'll get 150 barrier, because if you attack like 3 random enemies, 150 barrier. Also, this has the opportunity against a single target to do a ton of damage. Actually, if we had this is hard to gauge without the number here. So if this is like 300 attack and you attack the clan boss, does that do 900 attack to the single target? Because if so, this guy's like a boss slayer. Like, this guy's actually taking people out back, especially with Fujin bringing him in for a basic attack. Like, I get to do this twice per turn cycle? Man. What happens if I build Fujin really fast and this guy's slow and like deadly? Do I just like cycle Fujin turns to bring in this guy's auto attack and that just does a ton of damage because of attack 3 random targets? If it could stack on the same one? That's spooky. Very good. Then attack all enemies 3 times. Increase the divinity of the hero by 10% for each hero defeated. If Fujin's on the same team, also increases divinity. So is this just a big boy damage? And then when an enemy receives a debuff, shock them, inflicting some attack percent, Cannot be critical, ignores defense. This is the same thing with Lamashtu. This number is not that big, considering it can only be triggered once per enemy turn. You know, is this per target too? Like if I do hex and defense down, it's good that the hex is first because the hex will then make this damage spread. I like Raijin. I think Raijin's gonna be your premier like defense down guy in arena too. Like I think of this is the guy you're bringing in with Hades, right? We talked about where like Raijin comes in, hex down, defense down, and then you know Hades has, or I said Hades, Ares has a 50% chance to strong hit. Then follow up with a speed lead like Kets. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm in on Raijin. It really depends on these specifics. It depends on how hard this is to get as well. I think the passive is inconsequential. This isn't that much damage. It's 6,000 damage. It can only happen once per enemy turn. Like we're talking a very different story. This can happen more than once, but it only happens once. I like him. I like Raijin a lot. I might actually pull for Raijin on my account. He might be a target for me, actually. I don't think he's better than the Invokers. I just like damage dealers, and I think this guy's going in the right place. It really depends on this multiplier, though, and if I can hit the boss 3 times, right? So if that's the case, this is doing a ridiculous amount of damage to a single target, right? Like, oh man. Yeah, I like Raijin a lot. I think Raijin may even be like this is like, especially with Fujin, like we are talking like Wukong levels of powerful, depending on this multiplier and depending if you can hit the same target more than once. Because like this is a big boy, this is big boy damage with someone else who can bring him in, and he gives himself a little bit of barrier as well. Yeah, I like him. I like Raijin. Let's move to the next one. So we have Izanagi. So Izanagi is our ultimate battery, and I think they designed the ultimate battery very well here. So when attack enemy, increase the divinity of all allies by 5%. If Izanami's on the team, she will join the attack. Okay, yeah, sure. And so divinity by 5%, it's okay. Definitely not. A lot of his power is not in the core. His pass or his basic then, because 5% divinity. I mean, if you do it twice, it maybe it can. You do it twice. Yeah, it might be able to be changed. It might change when you can do your ultimate, but 5% alone will not change when you do your ultimate. But this is pretty good. Initiative up on allies for 2 turns, and then reduce the divinity cost of allies. But this is really good. This is really, really good. Books to a 4 turn. Is this so strong it couldn't be a 3 turn? It's kind of weird to have a 2 turn buff on a 4 turn cooldown, but the divinity cost is real. And then we bring in the attack, right? The attack up on all allies, and increase the divinity of all allies by 20%. Also increases the damage of each ally's next ultimate by 30%. Oh man. Yeah. Wow. That's really good. And then we'll revive Izanami. And then for every 5 less players from the enemy team, activate this build's basic ability against the enemy with the highest turn meter. Okay. Okay, so yeah, he has a kind of a built-in and his imprint is quite interesting as well. Every 10 buffs placed. Ooh, this imprint's actually interesting. Yeah, I like Izanagi. Very, very concise kit. He's like, if you have a Slayer with an impactful ultimate, I think of him and Ares again, right? Ares for the clan boss. Very good. And then if you can predict when he comes in, you could definitely do some nasty stuff here. I think Izanagi is a perfectly fine champion. This 30% next damage on ultimate ability is really good as well. And the attack up too. We don't know how long the attack up is. It's probably a 2 turn. It depends on it really depends on how much you can cycle this. But Izanagi, if you have people with strong ultimates, this is a game changer, right? So yeah, I think I like Izanagi a lot. He's a little bit harder to use. He needs the right team around him, but you can't deny, man. This guy does his job. All right, let's go to the next one. So there was something interesting here we'll get to, right? But she's a disruptor, and then we see that we're putting init down on a target. It's fine. Remove all shields from all enemies with a chance to place corrupt on the target with the highest HP for 3 turns. If Izanagi's on the team, he'll join with his core ability. His core ability is not an attack. It's the divinity reduction. So does this do the divinity reduction? Because if that's the case, this is scary. But remove the shield from all enemies, then attack. Okay, so we're attacking with a chance to place corrupt on the highest HP for 3 turns. This is spooky. This is definitely a boss killer. And then attack all enemies, place speed down and curse on the target for 2 turns, then decrease their turn meter by 20%. Speed down plus turn meter reduction is very strong. Also, with Izanagi recycling this a lot, I don't think the turn meter is that big, so I imagine this will be a relatively short cooldown. So, maybe Izanagi's not necessary to reduce it further, but we'll see. And then when this hero attacks an enemy under a knit down, decrease their turn meter by 5%. So she doesn't really have a good enabler of a knit down. I don't think this is such a good buff. It needs to be at like 60% chance. I think it can be 100% chance to place, especially if her passive relies on it. That being said, she is very good. Removing all shields and then corrupt on a key target. I don't know why this can't be just. I mean, I guess an AOE corrupt would be too strong, but again, she isn't a legendary, and she is like an underworld like hit person. So she's a notable character in the Izumo like lore, like of the the Japanese lore. So I don't know why we can't put corrupt on everyone for 3 turns. Like, yeah, it's spooky, but at the same time, like, this is a legendary champion. And, I mean, she's not really doing a whole lot. Like, turn meter down 20% on each target is really good, but that's on the ultimate. So you're telling me I'm starting a fight, and I'm just going to do remove all shields, and then corrupt, and then a knit down? I think she's pretty low impact. It really depends on how quickly you can get this ultimate going. This is definitely the best part of her kit, and without a guaranteed knit down, I don't think she's doing a whole lot. I don't think Izanami is that good, honestly. Yeah, and she's a disruptor, so her numbers won't be crazy high, most likely. So yeah, I don't think Izanami's doing that much. All right, let's do the next one. All right, Lamashtu. Lamashtu is doing 5,000 or 500 attack. On this, that is big. That's big. Ouch. And if the target's feed increase damage next AoE by 50%. This is very good. This is very good. This is very, very, very good. This could not be overstated how good this is. And then attack for enemy 300 attack, but then obviously this will be equivalent of like 450. And then if it defeats 3 or more enemies, reset the cooldown, increase the hero's divinity by 200. This is literally, I read this as a speedrunning hero, right? If you can get this core to kill a wave, you'll just reset it for the next wave. So yeah, this is good. And then she brings her own attack up too, which makes this do monstrous amount of damage, like a monstrous amount of damage. On this hero for 2 turns, they attack all enemies. And then for each enemy defeated, summon a demon of pestilence that will explode, triggering solar eruption, a 50% chance to put vulnerable and acid on all enemies for 2 turns. Do we know if acid can you have multiple acids on your bar? because I think that depends if this is really good or not. Because you will need to have dead enemies for this to trigger. So that means on fights that don't have ads, right? Then this isn't very good. Obviously the Daimyo fight has ads, so this is relevant. But like Clan Boss, I didn't see any ads on that one. I mean, I guess like the Hag has those totems, so like this is pretty good on totems. So it always triggers Soul Eruption, and then it has a chance to place vulnerable and acid. Well, yeah, maybe this doesn't trigger per explosion. Maybe this triggers per just per attack. Okay. And once again, Soul Eruption. Asking me to defeat a enemy is a high cost. Raijin's asking me place a debuff. That's low. That's low. I do that all day, every day, right? Ask me to kill an enemy to give me this. No good. This still doesn't do enough damage. Like if I kill an enemy and I only do 6,000 damage, that's not enough damage. like the rest of the kit is phenomenal. I think this is so low impact. I don't care. However, I think Lamashtu is just doing a ton of damage. Like this A1, like we talk about like the Wukong imprint. This is doing a lot of damage. If you can bring Lamashtu in for retaliates and stuff too, get the attack up and then on here, and then just bring this in over and over again. This is a lot of damage. This is a lot of damage. Yeah, I think this is this and Cizin is what I want to see of legendary slayers. Right, very happy with Lamashtu. The imprint is kind of unimpactful. Either change the trigger or make this number worth my time. I mean, even with the attack up, like that's still, it's 10,000 true damage then? Kind of. Not really, right? No, it's like 8,000. Considering that, I'm not impressed. I think this needs to be bumped up way more for me to consider this good. The rest kit's awesome. It just does a ton of damage. So yeah, and this reset here, like, is gonna make farming so nice, so nice. Yeah, I like Lamashtu a lot. Cool. On to the next one. We have Morgan Le Fay. Now I had to do another take for this one because my first instinct was she was bad. However, I thought about it a little bit. I was doing a little bit of thinking. And you realize here that, how much accuracy can you pump into a character is the question, right? Like, we saw in the alpha, like 300 accuracy with mindful of other stats. And then, with attack, we saw like 5-6K. So the attack is still doing more damage here in this case. But in this case, accuracy is actually doing a lot of what you're doing here. So I would say you probably build Morgan Le Fay not like a Slayer. You probably don't build crit rate, crit damage on her. You probably build straight accuracy, as much accuracy as you can get your hands on, and then tank, right? And then what she'll do for you now is, with that in mind, let's read this kit. She'll tackle enemies for a decent hit, right? Let's say like 600 accuracy. Like you sacrifice everything for accuracy. Maybe 500. So okay, 500 accuracy, and then has a chance to put vulnerable in all allies, and then activates a random debuff on the target. Ooh. And now this is where she's interesting. Attack all enemies 3 times. Each hit has a 75% chance to place one of the dots, right? Ooh. So these two working together, you're placing every dot in existence, and then you're popping it with this here while doing notable damage because of your accuracy being so high. This is an unorthodox Slayer. And then this is another thing, and this is the same design that makes you not ult with Achilles and not ult with Dracula. You are never ulting with this character. You do not want to remove these. If these were activate, thumbs up. We do it. If it's not activate, thumbs down. We don't do it. It ruins the whole point of the kit. Because we're going to attack all enemies. Sure. Okay. And then we remove 5 debuffs. We do more damage. This does not do that much damage. This is not a high base number. I don't care about removing debuffs to nuke people. This is not, I don't care. If you made this per debuff removed, I do 25% more damage, then I might think about building crit damage. And then, you know, but like I'm not building crit damage. I don't have other multipliers. I'm the base damage is too low. And it's spread between like two stats, right? I don't want to build attack on this character. And then if 20 more debuffs removed, you take an extra turn. Why would I do this? Why would I undo everything I did for my next turn to just put maybe some of it back on? And I think that's the problem with this character is like this ultimate is not doing what the rest of the character wants to do. That being said, this passive is incredible. This imprint is incredible. So Aether Burn increases my divinity. This character doesn't care about that. Blaze, this hero's next core does 5% more damage. My core does trash damage. I don't care about my core damage, but other characters do, right? Other characters care. Acid increases my turn meter. Acid's awesome. And then bleeds heal this hero for the accuracy amount. This is a real heal, by the way. Is this per bleed tick or just when bleed is triggered? If this is per bleed tick, this is a full heal most of the time. If you have a full stack, right? You have like 400 accuracy. But this imprint is very interesting. Raw wants the imprint because we're doing Blaze stuff, right? He's activating Blazes by himself. Dracula wants the imprint. Hercules might want the imprint. Cizin might want the imprint, I think, as well. Aether Burn is harder to find people that have Aether Burn and care about the divinity. And 25 divinity is pretty low for the ask for the Aether Burn. Does Aether Burn does damage to their it's a dot to their divinity, I believe, right? So could be good. I guess all in all, I think this is a hero that you're not taking to 6-star ever. I think you're gonna leave her at 4 or 5-star, right? Level 40, level 50. And then because accuracy does not need base like stats, it doesn't do anything. Like your base stats increase don't increase your accuracy. So I could see her being at 5-star and you just kind of like whatever, be tanky enough to live. So considering that, she's a pretty interesting because she's not taking up your first level up slot like some of these legendaries might, like your other slayers might. You know, like because obviously you're not leveling up your invoker to 6-star first. You could probably if you take an invoker first, you're probably leveling your starter to 6-star. And this kind of does the same thing where it leaves room for someone else to be 6-starred first, and she's still doing her job at 4 and 5-star. So considering that, I'm pretty happy with her. I mean, it really depends how this feels, but activate random debuff, this does do a lot of damage as well. She's weird, but I like her. Like she's definitely the top half of the legendaries we saw so far. And she's a slayer that does not need to be at 6-star to do her job, which I think is an important piece as well. But ultimate's kind of bad. I really don't care about this ultimate. I'm probably not building crit rate, crit damage on her. It's going to be hard to, I think you want to build her this slow and play into the slow, like attrition-y type fight with her. But yeah, pretty happy with that. And then I think there is another one here. We have Svarog. So Svarog here, we're going to put Blunt. This is a 100% chance to put Blunt 2 on the target. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm talking about. These Dish buffs here, because Blunt is what? Strong hit damage, crit damage down. Yeah, like your niche buffs should have a 100% chance to place. I don't know why they're not, right? Okay, all attack all enemies and 100% chance to place attack down on each target, and also place protect on all allies. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love attack down. I love protect. Sign me up. Because guess what else is happening? Res up, defense up on 3 turns, and place a good shield as well. And we have DR whenever an ally uses their ultimate. This man is incredible. This man has 1, 2, 3, 4 vectors of DR in his kit with attack down to protect, defense, and his ultimate. And then you slap one like a Fujin ultimate on him. And man, your team just isn't dying. You are taking, I mean, I feel I should calculate it. I won't calculate it. But I mean, the amount of damage you are taking is so low because you have so many sources of decent damage reduction, and they're not all pure damage reduction, so they're not scaling each other multiplicatively, right? Attack down is not actually DR, right? Damage reduction. This isn't actually damage reduction. This isn't actually damage reduction. So you only have one source of actual damage reduction, and you're reducing damage in other ways. I think Svarog is, in terms of keeping your team alive, is doing much more for you than any defender we've seen here yet. I think if your goal is to keep your team alive, Svarog is probably the best defender we've seen so far, and I think that he is probably the most likely hero here to crack a top 5 spot for me. I have to think about it more, but I think that he is bringing more than, say, he's reducing damage in very optimal ways, right? I mean, especially too with like in PvP, this blunt 2 is real, right? Because you'll reduce crit hit chance, right? I forget what blunt actually does. It's a weird damage reduction thing. It doesn't matter in PvE that much, but in PvP, it's like, is it? I should really look it up, but I don't want to right now. We're almost done with the video. But I think Svarog cracks top 5. Honestly. Like in mine, I think Vivian's better. I think Heimdall is still better. I think that, who's the other big ones? Quetzalcoatl. He's about on par with Ketz for me. I like Ketz a lot though. And then I think he's way better than Wukong to start with. I'm struggling to think of all the invokers. I think he's better than Isis. Honestly, people think Isis is top 1. I'd rather have this be my defensive team slot than Isis be my defensive team slot. I think that this man is keeping your teams alive. We talked about like the kind of teams would have a clan boss. This is the man keeping them alive, right? So, yeah, I really like Svarog a lot, actually. I think he is a super solid. Yeah, that's my takes. But that's it. That's the take on. Is that all of them? Check that. Yeah. Okay, that's the take on all of the heroes that were revealed today. I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments below. Let me know what you think is the best hero shown today. I will have a tier list in the future, kind of breaking them down. I just wanted to give like a first reaction type thing to them. All right. Well, as always, take care. Bye.